Lisa Thompson stood before the massive doors of the Galactic Council headquarters, trying to keep her breathing steady. The blue-tinted glass towers stretched so high that they disappeared into the purple clouds above. As Earth's first ambassador to the Council, she knew every move she made would shape humanity's future among the stars. "Ambassador Thompson, please follow the safety protocols," chirped her alien guide, a small creature that looked like a cross between a bird and a butterfly. "The other diplomats are concerned about your Class 12 Deathworld status." Lisa fought back a smile as she watched the guide hover at what it considered a safe distance. She had spent the last 6 months learning about how the other species viewed humans. To them, Earth was a nightmare world of crushing gravity, toxic atmosphere, and extreme temperature swings. That made its people, by extension, terrifying survivors of a deadly planet. The massive doors slid open with a soft hiss. Inside, the council chamber was a rainbow of alien diplomats. Some floated in anti-gravity bubbles, others stood on elevated platforms, and a few were contained in environmental suits. All of them moved back slightly as Lisa entered. "Presenting Ambassador Lisa Thompson of Earth, a Class 12 Deathworld representative," announced the chamber's eye. The words echoed in 20 different languages. A tall, blue-skinned figure stepped forward while others whispered and moved away. "I am Trevor," it said in carefully practiced English. "I have modified my name to suit your speech patterns. I represent the Arxian Republic, and I find your species fascinating." Lisa gave her best diplomatic smile, careful not to show teeth. She had been briefed about how many species saw that as a threat display. "Thank you for the welcome, Representative Trevor. I look forward to learning from each other." The other diplomats watched in amazement as Trevor approached within 10 feet of Lisa. Most kept at least 30 feet away from her. Their environmental sensors blinked rapidly, measuring everything from her body temperature to her bone density. "Is it true?" Trevor asked, his large eyes blinking in sequence, "that humans regularly survive forces that would kill most species? Our scientists could hardly believe the data from your planet." Before Lisa could answer, a small commotion broke out. One of the younger diplomats had accidentally brushed against a metal railing and caused it to vibrate. Several species let out alarm calls, their natural fear responses triggering. Without thinking, Lisa reached out and steadied the railing. The simple act caused several diplomats to activate their emergency shields. To them, she had just casually touched a piece of metal vibrating at what they considered dangerous frequencies. "Please," Lisa said calmly, "there's no need for alarm. What you consider dangerous is often just normal to us. Earth has shaped us to be sturdy, but that same evolution has taught us to be careful with those more fragile than ourselves." Trevor's color shifted to a deeper blue, a sign of interest among his people. "Fascinating. You speak of deadly conditions with such casualness, yet you show concern for others' safety. Perhaps this is why your species achieved space travel so quickly. You are problem solvers by necessity." As the other diplomats slowly lowered their shields, Lisa saw her opportunity. "That's exactly right, Representative Trevor. Humanity's greatest strength isn't our physical resilience. It's our ability to adapt and understand others. We don't want to be feared. We want to be partners in building a better galaxy for all species." The chamber grew quiet as her words were translated. Several diplomats moved their sensory appendages in ways that suggested deep thought. Trevor's approval was clear as his skin rippled with patterns of light. Then perhaps, Trevor announced to the chamber, "we should listen to what Earth has to offer. After all, any species that can turn a death world into a civilization might have unique perspectives we need." Lisa felt a weight lift from her shoulders. It wasn't full acceptance, but it was a start. As she prepared to give her formal presentation to the council, she noticed a few of the younger diplomats drifting closer, curiosity beginning to overcome their fear. The first steps toward true galactic diplomacy had begun, even if those steps had to be taken very, very carefully by everyone involved. The morning started like any other in the Galactic Council's dining hall. Lisa Thompson sat at her usual table, watching alien diplomats consume their morning nutrients through various means. Some absorbed light, others drank mineral solutions, and a few inserted food pills into what she assumed were mouths. Major James Cooper, the newly arrived military attaché, approached her table with 2 steaming cups of coffee. "Thought you could use this, Ambassador." The food synthesizers finally figured out how to make a decent cup. "Oh, thank goodness," Lisa said, taking the cup. "I've been dying for real coffee for weeks." The rich smell of fresh coffee drew curious looks from nearby diplomats. Trevor, the Arxian representative who had become something of a friend to the humans, drifted over to their table. "What is that interesting aroma?" Trevor asked, his skin rippling with colors of curiosity. "Our sensors detect multiple complex organic compounds." James smiled. This is coffee. The fuel that powers human civilization. Would you like to try some?" Several other diplomats had gathered now, their sensory organs focused on the strange brown liquid. Trevor's natural scientific curiosity won out. "Yes, I would like to experience this. Coffee. Our biological compatibility charts show no immediate dangers." Lisa started to warn him about the caffeine, but Trevor had already taken a small sip through his absorption membrane. His blue skin suddenly flashed through every color of the rainbow. "Great galaxies!" Trevor exclaimed, his translator struggling to keep up with his excited signals. "The chemical reactions, the neural stimulation. Is this how humans feel all the time?" Before Lisa could answer, Trevor began hovering 3 feet higher than usual, his natural levitation enhanced by the caffeine rush. Other diplomats, seeing his obvious excitement, decided they wanted to try this human drink too. "Wait," James called out. "Maybe we should check the effects on each species first." But it was too late. The dining hall descended into cheerful chaos. A group of gas-based diplomats turned bright pink after absorbing coffee vapor. 2 crystalline beings started growing extra facets. A normally sluggish, slug-like diplomat was now zipping around the ceiling at alarming speeds. "Medical emergency teams to the dining hall," the AI announced calmly. Unexpected stimulant exposure event in progress. Lisa watched in horror as a plant-based diplomat absorbed some spilled coffee through their roots and suddenly sprouted flowers. "James, this is a diplomatic disaster." But when the medical teams arrived, they found something unexpected. None of the affected diplomats were in any danger. In fact, most of them were experiencing what their species considered extreme pleasure. "This is amazing." Trevor spun in happy circles. No wonder humans conquered their death world. "With this substance, you must feel invincible." James tried not to laugh. "Actually, this is mild for us. Many humans drink several cups every day." The medical staff dropped their instruments in shock. The chief medical officer, a being made of living metal, turned to Lisa. "Ambassador Thompson, are you saying humans regularly consume this stimulant in large quantities for pleasure?" "Well, yes," Lisa admitted. "It helps us wake up in the morning." The dining hall fell silent as this information was translated and processed. Then Trevor, still floating higher than normal, began to laugh, a sound like tinkling crystals. "Once again, the Deathworlders surprise us. You not only survive terrible conditions, but you also routinely consume stimulants that would drive other species to euphoria. Remarkable." As the effects began to wear off, the various diplomats gathered around the human table, all talking at once. Instead of a disaster, the coffee incident had broken down barriers. Species that normally avoided each other were sharing their experiences, comparing reactions, and, most surprisingly, asking for more coffee. Lisa looked at James and shook her head with a smile. "Maybe we should introduce them to tea next time. Something a little less exciting." Or James grinned, "We could tell them about energy drinks." Lisa nearly choked on her coffee. "Let's save that revelation for when they're ready. One human beverage at a time." The council would later classify coffee as a controlled substance, available only in special diplomatic lounges. But from that day forward, the human embassy became the most popular gathering spot in the entire council building. The monthly council meeting started like any other. Lissa Thompson sat in her reinforced chair, designed to handle Earth-level gravity, while other diplomats floated or perched in their specialized seats. Major James Cooper stood by the wall, looking bored as various species discussed trade routes. Nobody expected the lights to go out. Security breach in progress. The Council Eye announced calmly. Unknown hostile forces have entered the building. Through the darkness, Lisa heard the worried sounds of dozens of different species. Many council races had poor night vision, and some relied completely on artificial light to see. Everyone stay calm, Lisa called out. Then she heard the distinctive sound of weapon fire, some kind of energy weapon she didn't recognize. We are the pure space movement, a voice boomed through the chamber. We're here to protect the council from the dangerous Deathworlders. Surrender the humans, and no one will be harmed. James caught Lisa's eye across the room. In the dim emergency lighting, she could see him mouthing words. They don't know. Lisa understood immediately. These terrorists thought humans were the threat, but they didn't understand what humans could actually do. The attackers moved into the chamber wearing powered armor suits. They looked impressive to the council races, but to Lisa and James, the suits seemed clumsy. Earth's high gravity had given humans natural strength that made such suits unnecessary. Step away from the Deathworlders, one attacker ordered the nearest diplomats. We'll take them into custody. Trevor, who had been hiding under his anti-gravity platform, spoke up. You don't understand what you're doing. Silence. The leader shouted, firing a warning shot that left a scorch mark on the wall. That was when James made his move. The attackers had forgotten something important. Humans evolved as pursuit predators. In one smooth motion, James crossed the room faster than their targeting systems could track. Before the nearest attacker could turn, James had already pried open a weak point in the power armor. Lisa didn't waste time either. While the attackers focused on James, she grabbed Trevor and two smaller diplomats, pulling them behind a sturdy desk. The terrorists fired their weapons, but Lisa's denser muscles and stronger bones, results of Earth's gravity, let her move the heavy desk like it was made of plastic. How are they so fast? One attacker yelled. The suits should make us stronger than any species. James laughed as he disabled a second suit. Should have done your homework. Humans don't need suits to be strong. The council members watched in amazement as Lisa and James moved through the room. What looked like incredible strength to them was just normal human ability. James pulled apart power cables that would have taken 3 normal aliens to break. Lisa lifted fallen debris that most species would need machines to move. When security finally arrived, they found all 6 attackers tied up with their own power cables. Their expensive suits lay in pieces around them. Lisa stood in the center of the room, barely out of breath, while James checked on the council members. Is everyone all right? Lisa asked, helping a shaken diplomat back to their hover platform. Trevor floated down from his hiding spot, his skin glowing with excitement. That was educational. We knew humans were strong, but seeing it in action. Now you understand why Earth is classified as it is, James said, dusting off his uniform. But you also see we use that strength to protect, not harm. The council chamber filled with the sounds of amazed discussion in multiple languages. Many diplomats who had feared humans now looked at them with new respect. Perhaps, Trevor suggested, still shaking slightly, we should update our files. Humans are not dangerous because they are strong. They are remarkable because they choose to be gentle despite their strength. Lisa smiled as she helped clean up the mess. This wasn't how she had planned to demonstrate human capabilities, but sometimes diplomacy took unexpected turns. As she watched James carefully help a tiny gas-based diplomat back into their containment sphere, she knew the council would see humans differently from now on. The pure space movement had wanted to prove humans were too dangerous to be in the council. Instead, they had proved why humans belonged exactly where they were. Emily Brooks stood in front of 20 alien diplomats, trying to explain the concept of a human kindergarten. After the excitement of the terrorist attack, the council had decided to learn more about how humans raise their young. They hadn't expected what Emily was showing them. "And here," she said, pointing to a picture on the screen, "we teach our 5-year-olds about the water cycle through song and dance." "You teach younglings about acid falling from the sky?" one horrified diplomat asked. "On their world, rain was deadly." "It's just water," Emily explained patiently. "On Earth, rain helps things grow." Trevor, who had appointed himself as the unofficial human expert, tried to help. "Remember, their world is different. What's deadly to us is normal for them." Emily moved to the next slide, showing children in a playground. The diplomats gasped as one. The image showed young humans climbing metal bars, jumping from heights, and running on hard surfaces. "You deliberately put your young in danger." A plant-based diplomat's leaves turned pale. "Those structures are clearly meant for physical training." "It's just a playground," Emily said. "Kids need to learn their limits, build strength, and have fun." Lisa Thompson, watching from the back of the room, could see the growing confusion among the council members. To them, the idea of letting children take any risks was unthinkable. Then Emily showed them a typical kindergarten reading session. "Here we're reading, where the wild things are to the children." The translator struggled to convey the concept, showing the book's images of monsters and wild creatures. Several diplomats activated their calming fields. "You show your younglings images of predators." A crystalline being chimed in distress. "While they are still in their formative phase." Emily took a deep breath. "We believe it's important for children to understand both the good and difficult parts of life. Through stories, they learn about feelings, consequences, and how to handle scary situations." "Look at this carefully," Trevor suddenly spoke up. "Their younglings are smiling. They're not afraid. They're learning." The room grew quiet as the diplomats studied more images. They saw children drawing pictures of dinosaurs, acting out stories of heroes, and learning simple science experiments. "I think I understand," Trevor said, his skin rippling with revelation. "Humans don't just survive their death world. They teach their young to understand it, face it, and even find joy in it." Emily smiled. "Exactly. We believe children are stronger than we think. They can handle truth, wrapped in love and support." She showed them more pictures. Children planting gardens, learning about weather, taking care of class pets, and helping each other up after falls. "Notice," Lisa added from the back, "how every challenging lesson is balanced with kindness. We teach about storms, but also about rainbows, about predators, but also about protection." A small floating diplomat drifted forward. "In all my studies of Deathworld species, I've never seen this approach. You don't shield your young from reality. You prepare them for it. While still letting them be children," Emily said. "They play, laugh, make friends, and learn to care for others. Yes, we teach them about the harder parts of life, but we also show them its beauty." The council chamber buzzed with discussion. Many diplomats who had expected to see harsh training were instead seeing a careful balance of preparation and nurture. "Perhaps," Trevor suggested, "we could start a real cultural exchange. Let some of our educators observe your schools, not to copy. Our young ones are different, but to understand." Emily beamed. "I'd love that. And maybe we could learn from your teaching methods too." As the diplomats filed out, still discussing what they'd seen, Lisa approached Emily. "You did well." They came expecting to see little Deathworlders in training. Instead, they saw children being children, just tougher than they expected. "Think they'll ever understand?" Emily asked. Lisa watched Trevor trying to explain playground games to a group of fascinated diplomats. "They're learning, just like our kids do. One small step at a time." Michael Anderson stood in the council's recreation dome, surrounded by curious alien diplomats. As Earth's physical education instructor, he had been asked to show them how humans stayed fit. He didn't expect them to be so worried about a simple game of volleyball. The ball just flies through the air, asked a floating diplomat. And you try to hit it. That's right, Michael said, tossing the volleyball up and catching it. It's a team sport. Very basic stuff. We teach it to kids. Lisa Thompson watched from the sidelines with Trevor. After the garden incident, the council had insisted on having medical teams standing by for any human demonstrations. I assure you, Trevor told the gathered diplomats, humans consider this a light recreational activity. Michael set up the volleyball net, which was lower than regulation height for the demonstration. Who wants to try first? The aliens looked at each other nervously. Finally, a group of anti-gravity-capable species volunteered, thinking they had an advantage by being able to float. Okay, Michael said. I'll serve the ball softly. Just try to hit it back over the net. He gave the gentlest serve he could manage. The ball floated perfectly toward the alien team. 3 diplomats crashed into each other trying to hit it, their natural floating abilities disrupted by their panic. Don't worry, Michael called out. The ball can't hurt you. It's just air and light material. But it moves so fast. One diplomat chimed. How do your young survive this training? Lisa stepped forward. Maybe we should show them first. Michael, could you and James demonstrate? Major James Cooper, who had been trying not to laugh, joined Michael on the court. They started passing the ball back and forth in a simple volleyball drill. The aliens watched in amazement as the humans jumped, dove, and hit the ball with precise control. Their natural Earth gravity muscles let them move in ways that seemed impossible to the watching species. Notice, Trevor commented, how they predict the ball's movement through air resistance and gravity. Their world's harsh conditions gave them these abilities. A few braver diplomats tried again, this time with Michael teaching them basic bumping techniques. They were surprised to find that the ball didn't hurt when it hit them. This is actually entertaining, said a crystalline being after successfully bumping the ball. Though I don't understand why humans would choose to do this. Wait until they learn about basketball, James whispered to Lisa, making her shake her head quickly. But Michael had already moved on to showing them other sports equipment. He picked up a soccer ball. This one stays on the ground mostly, he explained. You just kick it with your feet and you strike objects with your legs for amusement. A horrified diplomat interrupted. Deliberately. Well, yes, Michael said. But it's fun. Look. He started doing simple soccer ball tricks, bouncing it on his knee. Several diplomats activated their emergency shields. Perhaps, Lisa said quickly, we should move on to something less intense. Michael, what about showing them stretching exercises? Oh, you mean like yoga? Michael brightened. Sure, everyone can do this. He sat down and reached for his toes, demonstrating a simple stretch. The sound of multiple alien species gasping filled the dome. Your species can fold itself in half, Trevor asked, his skin shifting to a concerned purple color. This is just a basic stretch, Michael protested. I haven't even shown you the advanced poses. I believe, Lisa interrupted firmly, we've given them enough to think about for one day. As they left the recreation dome, Trevor turned to Lisa. You know, we always wondered why humans advanced so quickly in space travel. Now I understand. How so? Lisa asked. Any species that turns survival movements into games, that finds joy in physical challenge. Such a species would naturally seek out new frontiers just for the excitement of it. Michael grinned. Just wait until they hear about extreme sports. No, Lisa and Trevor said together, but they could see from his expression that it was too late. The council would definitely need a new section in their species database. Human recreational activities. Warning labels required. Dr. Amanda Parker stood before the Galactic Council Defense Committee, ready to give her presentation about human hunting methods. She knew this would be difficult for them to hear, but after 6 months of working with alien species, it had to be discussed. Today, we'll talk about how humans hunted on Earth before we developed advanced technology, she began, showing a simple diagram of early humans. Trevor, now officially the Council's human expert, watched from his floating platform. Even he didn't know everything about human history. Humans are what we call persistence hunters, Amanda explained. We can track prey for many hours or even days. The chamber erupted in confused noises. One diplomat raised a glowing appendage. But you have no natural weapons. No claws, no venom, no enhanced strength like other predator species. That's true, Amanda said. Instead, we have something different. We can run for very long times without stopping. We can sweat to stay cool. And most importantly, we can track and think while we run. She showed a video recreation of ancient humans tracking an antelope. The aliens watched in growing horror as the humans just kept following their prey, never letting it rest, until it became too tired to run. You mean, a plant-based diplomat's leaves shivered. You just follow your prey until it gives up. Exactly, Amanda nodded. Most animals can run faster than humans for short times. But they need to rest. We don't. We can keep going. Lisa Thompson, watching from her seat, saw the growing understanding in the aliens' expressions. This explained so much about humans that had confused them. This is why you're so good at solving problems, Trevor said suddenly. Your species learned to think while hunting, to track, to plan, to work together. Yes, Amanda smiled. But there's more. Humans are also very good at throwing things. She demonstrated by tossing a softball across the room with perfect aim. Several diplomats ducked, even though the ball wasn't near them. Our shoulders evolved specially for throwing, she explained. No other Earth species can throw with our accuracy and power. So when humans play their sports games, Trevor's skin turned pale as he remembered the volleyball demonstration. We're using hunting skills, yes, Amanda confirmed. But for fun now. We turned our predator abilities into games and sports. The Defense Committee members looked at each other nervously. One spoke up. But you eat plants too. Robert showed us his garden. We're omnivores, Amanda explained. We can eat both plants and meat. It helped us survive when food was scarce. She showed more images. Humans farming, fishing, and hunting with tools. We learned to get food in many ways. It made us very adaptable. This explains much, Trevor said. Your persistence, your problem solving, your ability to work together. It all came from being hunters. A small, floating diplomat moved forward. But you're not dangerous to us. You've been helping the Council, protecting us even. Lisa stood up then. That's the most important part. Yes, humans evolved as predators. But we also evolved empathy, cooperation, and care for others. We use our abilities to protect, not harm. Amanda nodded. Exactly. The same persistence that let us hunt now lets us solve scientific problems. The same throwing skills that helped us hunt now let us play games together. The same tracking ability now helps us explore space. The council chamber was quiet as everyone thought about this. Finally, Trevor spoke. So humans are predators who chose to be protectors. We're whatever we choose to be, Amanda said. Our history shaped us, but doesn't control us. We used our hunting skills to reach the stars. Now we use them to help build a better galaxy. The Defense Committee talked among themselves. Then their leader turned to Amanda. We would like to learn more about human abilities, not because we fear them, but because we want to understand our protectors better. Lisa smiled as she watched Amanda start explaining human tracking methods to the fascinated aliens. Sometimes the truth about humans wasn't scary at all. It just needed to be explained the right way. Lisa Thompson stood at the main podium of the Galactic Council chamber. 1 year had passed since she first arrived as Earth's ambassador. Today was the final vote on Earth's full membership in the Council. Members of the Council, she began, looking at the gathered aliens. When I first came here, many of you were afraid of humans. You saw us as dangerous Deathworlders. And in some ways, you were right. Trevor, floating nearby, watched his friend with pride. His skin glowed with supportive colors. Yes, we come from a world that most of you would find deadly. Yes, we are stronger than we look. Yes, we can eat spicy foods, drink stimulants, and play rough games. And yes, we evolved as persistence hunters. The chamber was completely silent. Lissa could see every diplomatic team paying close attention. But that's not what makes humans special, she continued. What makes us special is how we use those traits. We turned our endurance into sports that bring people together. We made our hunting skills into tools for protection. We used our problem-solving abilities to reach the stars. Major James Cooper stood at attention near the wall, remembering how he had helped stop the terrorists. Robert Miller sat with his garden data, thinking about all the new hybrid plants he was developing with alien botanists. Emily Brooks smiled, surrounded by teaching materials she now shared with alien educators. In this past year, Lisa said, we've had some interesting moments. The coffee incident taught us about being careful with our normal substances. The garden situation showed us we need better warning labels. Several diplomats laughed softly at these memories. But more importantly, Lisa continued, we learned from each other. You taught us about space travel, new technologies, and different ways of thinking. We taught you about endurance, adaptation, and finding joy in challenges. Dr. Amanda Parker nodded from her seat, thinking about all the joint research projects now studying human abilities to help other species. Humans are not perfect, Lisa admitted. We can be too aggressive sometimes. We take risks that worry you. We drink too much coffee. More gentle laughter filled the chamber. But we also care deeply. We protect those who need help. We solve problems that seem impossible. And most importantly, we never, ever give up on making things better. Trevor floated forward. If I may speak. At Lisa's nod, he addressed the council. A year ago, I was the only one willing to get close to humans. Now, look at us. We have human teachers in our schools, human guards protecting our chambers, human scientists working with our researchers, and yes, even human food in our cafeterias, with proper warning labels, of course. Michael Anderson, sitting with the other Earth representatives, grinned as he remembered how some aliens had actually started enjoying very mild sports after proper training. The vote before us today, Lisa said, is not just about accepting humans into the council. It's about accepting that strength can be used for protection, that predator instincts can be used for defense, that persistence can solve problems instead of creating them. The voting lights began to glow around the chamber. One by one, each species registered their choice. Lisa held her breath, even though Trevor had assured her the result was certain. The council eye's voice rang out. Vote complete. Earth's membership approved. Welcome to the Galactic Council. The chamber erupted in cheers, some loud, some soft, some in colors or lights or movements. Lisa felt tears in her eyes as she watched humans and aliens celebrating together. You did it, Trevor said, his skin shining with joy. Though I never doubted you would. After all, humans never give up. No, Lisa smiled, looking at her team. James, Robert, Emily, Amanda, Michael, all of them who had helped show the galaxy who humans really were. We never do. But now we don't have to do it alone. As the celebration continued, Lisa knew this was just the beginning. There would be more challenges, more misunderstandings, more incidents with coffee probably. But humans were good at facing challenges. And now they had a whole galaxy of friends to face them with.